The Middle of the Pack podcast. Welcome to this week's podcast. My name is Padraig, and we are this week talking about Taper Week, Maranoia. It's currently Tuesday of my Taper Week, and I have to say I am definitely in the middle of this Maranoia mood. I did read where it said a tapering marathoner, me, and all the future guests that are going to, all the past guests, I should say, that are coming on to give little brief snippets of how they're getting on. But we're liable to become spontaneously moody, germophobic, fully irrational, and with an innate ability to lose all focus. Weather forecast obsession and self-doubt may occur, but frequent episodes of extreme restlessness, anxiety, and excitement are common. And I have to say that is the way I'm feeling. I also read that it's an irrational worry or fear experienced by runners in the days and weeks, particularly Taper Week, before a marathon. It manifests as anxiety, overtraining, fear of injury, feeling unwell despite proper rest, doubting your ability to perform, even after extensive preparation. Maranoia is common, affecting runners of all experience levels, not just newbies or middle-of-the-pack runners. It can be managed by trusting the training, focusing on rest and nutrition, and seeking support from others. And I have to say, as you know from if you've listened to all the previous episodes, I'm part of Kieran McKeown, my coach, and he has a group, and we had a meeting on Sunday night where everyone got together and shared some of their Maranoia worries, and also just talking about the race plan. And all these things kind of just add to the kind of butterflies in your tummy. But it's also good to talk about it. It's also good to get it off your chest. And for this week's show, I've asked all the guests that have been on that are running Dublin just to give a little snippet of what they're doing, what they're about, and how they're getting on during Taper Week. So we'll start off with Sinead Power, and this is what she had to say about her Taper Week.
Hello, Padraig. There was a time when I would be getting my hair done the Friday of the October bank holiday weekend for the Jazz Festival. But alas, this midlife crisis is quite severe. So I'm actually getting my hair done Friday for the Dublin City Marathon Expo, because if I cross the finish line, any hairdo I had will be well undone, and my hairdresser will be horrified at the state of me. So this week, I'm going to focus on eating well, sleeping well, and trying not to fall over and injure myself. So we should be very proud that we've come through the training block, and it's an achievement in itself to get to the start line as far as I'm concerned. So let's see what the 26th of October brings for us all, and let's hope we all come out of it unscathed, safe and happy, and that we all do our best. If it's anybody's first Dublin City Marathon, it's a great marathon. Some real characters out in the course and some brilliant camaraderie from runners on the course. So hope you all achieve what you're aiming to achieve, and that we all have a great weekend. Maybe we'll find some jazz in Dublin somewhere, you never know. Bye.
Thank you, Sinead. Yes, you'll never know what we'll find in Dublin. Hopefully we'll have all finished the marathon and we'll be somewhere celebrating anyway, whether there's jazz music or not. That remains to be seen. She also put me in touch with an account called Women Who Run Ireland, which is run by Tara. And Tara did a post on Marathon Week, and I've just taken the snippet from that now, from Tapering Week. It's brilliant. She is going to be a future guest. I'm looking forward to having her on. Just having looked at the whole account, I think it's fabulous what she's doing. And I know Sinead Power, who you just heard from, is very inspired by this account too. So the account is called Women Who Run Ireland, and this is Tara from them talking about Taper.
Made it to Taper. Woohoo! Everything hurts. My leg is hanging off, my knee is hanging off, my elbow hurts, my arse hurts, my back hurts. Oh my God, everything hurts in Taper. Your body has just gone through 20 weeks of pure trauma. You have never ran as much as you've ran in your life before. Taper is all about resting. It's about resting the body. It's about repair. It's about recovery. If you do your taper right for 2 weeks, some people have a 2-week taper, some people have a 1-week taper coming into their marathon. But if you taper correctly, you're in the best possible shape when you go to the start line. So taper here is phantom niggles. Everything hurts. Psychological. You feel like you should be running more. You want to go out for that long run. Don't go out for that long run. Let your body recover. Taper is all about recovery. Don't let it get into your head. You need these weeks to rest and recover. So phantom niggles happen in taper. It's all psychological. You go to the expo, you collect your race number, and you're like all excited. You're like, oh my God, I have my race number. I'm going to run a marathon. Life is great. Life is good. You wake up the next morning, make your way to the bag drop. Here you are at the start line with 20,000 other people, and you're sitting there going, whose idea was this?
Well, it was my idea. It was Sinead's idea. It was Dave Buckley's idea. It was Angeline's idea. It was Fergal's idea. It was Tara's idea. It's everyone's idea to run a marathon. It's just this week, it just gets out of control in your mind. So yeah, all those niggles are just niggles. All those worries are just worries, but you just got to try to enjoy this week. Let's hear from Angeline next and see what she has to say about her tapering week. Angeline and Fergal were actually my first guests on the podcast, and this is Angeline, Fergal's better half, talking about taper week.
It's taper week, the final stretch before the Dublin Marathon. All the hard work's been done, the long runs, the tough sessions, the early mornings, the late nights. Now it's time to really rest the body and calm the mind. This will be my 10th marathon, and I have done this stage very wrong in the past. Just trying to squeeze in one last long run, or worrying that I'd lose my fitness. But this time, I'm going to try and do it right. The training is in the bank. Now it's all about sleep, good food, and trusting the process. This week for me is about recovery, not just physically, but mentally. I focusing on rest, mindset, and reminding myself I've done everything that I can. So to everyone running Dublin on Sunday, enjoy the week. You've earned the rest, you've earned the confidence, and remember, the hay is in the barn. We've done the work. Now it's time to relax, refocus, and get ready to run our best. Bring it on, taper week.
Bring it on indeed. We're right smack in the middle of it, so I hope everybody is feeling a bit better. The hay is in the barn, as Angeline said. I love that. I love it. And let's hear what her hubby has to say on taper week. They send me different separate messages on occasions. I often wonder whether they're in the same household, but I do know they are, because they're wonderful parents to wonderful kids. And I don't know how they've been fitting in marathon training with their busy lives, but they have done. So well done to them. Here's Fergal, and see what he has to say about taper week for him.
Hello, middle of the pack listeners. It's Fergal here, as previously seen as a co-leader with Padraig in the Cork City Marathon earlier this year. Dublin will be my 4th marathon, but really only my 2nd taper week, as I didn't know it existed in the first 2, or that a marathon training block existed for that matter. But 14 years after my first marathon, I'm older and only a little wiser. You see, ahead of Cork, I thought Padraig was sort of overhyping the craziness of taper week. But when youth goes to age for advice, they get the experience of years. And when I nearly booked a trip out to Hong Kong for my mate's 40th the week before Cork City Marathon, I soon realised there could be some truth in taper week's psychological effect on us runners. Thankfully, this time round, I feel calm and composed. However, there is still a few days left ahead of Dublin, but I feel at no risk of flying halfway around the world for the crack. I'm loving the build-up that taper week brings this time round. It's like preparing for a big championship match. You've been working towards a date in the diary. All the training's been done, and now you just have to focus on getting to the start line injury-free and ready to run your game plan on the race day, which in itself is another massive test of self-control, but really looking forward to it. Surprisingly, I'm disappointed when I only see a 3 to 5 mile run needs done on taper week. I remember when we started training, I was shocked that we had to do a 3 mile as a warm-up. let alone do any running after that. But you become what you do, and if you're listening to Padraig, then you're a runner and you've the work done. So trust yourself to keep the rhythm on the day and enjoy every mile with a smile. After all, it's not every day you get to perform in front of 330,000 spectators. So go out, milk it up and enjoy it and run your best.
Thanks, Virgil. Jeepers, 330,000 spectators. Wow, that just adds to the nerves. Thankfully, they won't all be in one stadium. It'll be spread out over the 26.2 miles, 42 plus kilometres, which in itself is, again, nerve-wracking. Some little tips for marathon preparation, just to get your mind off taper week. Cut your toenails. Now is a good time to do that, so you're not doing it panically on the morning and doing yourself some damage. Make sure you've got some comfortable shoes and socks for afterwards. If you're meeting somebody at the finish line or whatever, make sure they bring some comfortable shoes and socks that you can change into. Carry only essentials for the race. Don't be afraid to chuck your bottles. I have silicone bottles that I've been using now for the whole build-up. They don't cost an awful lot, so as you finish them, just chuck them responsibly. Make sure you're aware of the people around you. Your watch is enough. You can also ask yourself, do you need your phone? Your watch should be enough. Can you meet someone to get your drinks mix? Not everybody will have someone, but if you know somebody, just arrange for them to be at a part of the course where you can pick up your drinks mix so you don't have to put that in your belt or carry it. An important one, and I think Dave Buckley, who's coming on later, might have mentioned that as well, to bring an old fleece to wear in your wave waiting area. Particularly, it might be cold and wet, and then you can discard that before you run, because leftover clothes will end up in charity anyway. Make sure you have an arranged meeting point for friends and family, because phone signals don't always work on start lines and finish lines. And, when you want to celebrate and get that hug that you probably deserve if you finished. Also, another bit of advice that I heard is to book a table at a place in town for afterwards, because you might want to sit down. I actually prefer standing up, actually. I worry I won't be able to get up if I sit down for too long after a big long run. But as you know, and you've been training, so you'll know that this is important, but hydration is key. So this week, keep sipping water throughout the next few days. Have an electrolyte the night before and an hour before your start time as well. When you're running, don't chug the water during the race. Don't overhydrate, because you don't want to flush out all the sodium that you've added, particularly in the night before and the morning of. Just drink to thirst. It's about finish lines, not finish times. We're going to finish a marathon. That's really important. Just to add to the kind of nerves also, don't forget that the clocks fall back as well. So that actually is giving you some extra sleep. So that's a little bit of a list. I know Dave is going to talk a little bit about that too. But let's hear from Gareth now. Gareth, Run with Gareth, the Instagram account. He was on our second or third episode as well. He was the first male solo guest. I know we had Angeline and Fergal, and then we had a lot of female guests, which is great. But Gareth was the first male solo guest. And this is what he is saying about his taper week.
Hello. So about halfway through taper now. It's what, recording this on Monday. The plan was to do it after my last long run, rather badly yesterday. So I just kind of cancelled the rest of the day, watched football, tried to put it out of my mind, and it has seemed to work. Tapering for me is always a strange thing, because like my head is going, yes, we're getting close to the big day, you need to rest, you need to conserve your legs, all that sort of stuff, and then my body's going, no, we're really full of energy, let's keep going. So I've always found tapering just to be a wee bit strange to me. My training had been going really, really well up until just before the tapering began. Like, I hit 2 half marathon PBs, the Great North and then at Belfast. I don't know what happened after that. The last 2 long runs that I've had, the first one was meant to be, I think it was like 16 miles or something, and I managed, I want to say 11 or 12. I can't quite remember. And then yesterday, was meant to be 12 miles. And I don't know what the weather's like down with you, but To say that it was wet yesterday is a massive, massive understatement. It was horrible all day up here. We had a yellow weather warning for rain, which, like, if we ever get an amber weather warning, that's bad, because like that usually is really heavy rain, really strong winds. Don't go out unless you want to get absolutely drenched. But a yellow weather warning tends to be a wee bit more, it's going to be a wee bit wetter than usual. But yesterday was just horrendous. Like, it wasn't super heavy rain, but this will sound stupid, but you know the rain that just soaks you even though it's not heavy? That was pretty much the entirety of my run yesterday. So I got 6 miles in, ended up in a place that I knew anyway, and stopped just, to have a word with myself, be like, right, do we need to keep doing this? Like, let's keep going. And I came to the conclusion that I'm a week out from Dublin. I've got 6 more miles to go. I was absolutely hating everything at that point. Like, I hated running, I hated the weather, I hated the cars driving past, even the ones that were really nice, and avoided the puddles. If any of you are listening, thank you, you're wonderful people. To the person who hit the puddle just in front of me and only just missed me, not a fan of you. That was very, very naughty of you. Bad person. But I just hated everything, and it came to the point where I sat debating it for that long that my legs made the decision for me and went, no, we're not doing it. And like, looking back objectively, it was probably a good decision, because I've already done the long miles, and whenever we're getting to this stage of the training program, I don't need to be doing like double figures miles. Yes, it's nice to have that kind of mental backup of, oh, I can still run 12 miles, I can still run 15 miles or whatever, but I don't need to, because in my head already knows I can do these distances. I can do these distances at the speed I want to. I'm still pretty confident about this Sunday. I mean, I think it's, excluding yesterday's run and that previous long run, it's the most consistent and solid like training block I've ever had. But I just can't get, I don't know what it is. Tapering to me, I just can't quite get all of my head around it. Like, I understand the concept of it, that you want to wind down a wee bit, or considerably, before a marathon, before a half marathon or whatever, so that your body is in really good shape. But then the rest of me is like, but I've already been doing these miles, so let's keep going. Let's get the body like used to running on tired legs. So, but yeah, hopefully I'll be sitting, maybe even on the bus back up home, with a shiny new medal, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a shiny new PB as well.
Yeah, Garrett's quest is to break the 5-hour mark, and I have every confidence he will. I was looking at his half marathon times, and I think he'll definitely break that 5-hour mark in this Dublin Marathon. You might have gathered he was getting slightly angry with people that were splashing him in the rain, and I was thinking about that spontaneously moody and irrational ability. I was kind of thinking he was definitely in taper week when he was getting so annoyed with these people. I enjoyed that. Thanks, Garrett. We're going to have Dave Buckley up next, and he's got some words of wisdom on his experience on the build up to a marathon and some tips and ideas. But it's a snippet really that I took. I didn't use in the podcast that we recorded with Dave last week. I was saving it for this particular marathon week, taper week, Maranoia special. It's just some advice from Dave on his marathon experiences. This is Dave Buckley.
So Dublin, what I'd recommend now is maybe get an old t-shirt, or especially a long sleeve one, because you're going to be early in the morning now, because you're going to have to discard of it. Don't come out with nice clothes. So an old race top you might have got from during the year that you don't really, you're happy enough to discard of it, because what they'll do is they'll give all those clothes that the 20,000 people are going to discard, they'll give that to the homeless people up in Dublin.
Just borrow a Man United top or something like that, is it?
Would be great. Yeah. No, it might be a bit expensive. Went to Pennies and get an old long sleeve top that you're just going to discard of on the morning. Write a list. I wrote a list. Geez, my list last year was unbelievable. So it was like, I tend to cut in the nipple areas too. So I got in the expo, I got these nip guards, they were called, and they worked. Because I've gone through every plaster known to man, and I always just bleed there, but I actually got these things in the expo, and they were still there when they finished 26 miles later. But
Yeah,
well,
the physio tape works as well, except they're adhesive all round, so you need to be careful taking them off.
yeah, it's Vaseline. Jeez, bring a big tub of Vaseline with you, and maybe a few plasters around the toe, underneath your toe there, if you kind of blister like that.
Yeah.
Well, always try to go to the loo, the bathroom in the hotel once or twice, and always, even if you see a line and it looks like it's going to take an hour to get there, you'll normally get there in about 5 minutes. Just go into one of the and just sit down.
Yeah.
Always do the 5 or 10 minute bathroom break before the gun goes off. Just get rid of that. It's only nervous energy, that's all it is. But you can't run around with that in your tummy because it'll upset you.
Yeah.
So there are the few things I'd say. Gels, 5 gel. Well, it depends. It depends. Every half hour is what they say. 30 grams every half an hour.
I know I'd need more than 5, but I have a drinks mix as well, so probably I'd have 5 gels and 2 drinks mix, and that will get me through for my time.
Yeah.
Like,
are you going traveling up the night before?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I went up last year, and I stayed in a hotel, and I didn't sleep a wink. Yeah, just try to bank your sleep Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even the Friday, because you won't get anything on Saturday. Probably not anyway.
Words of wisdom there from Dave Buckley. Thanks, Dave, and thanks to all my previous guests for coming on and just recording little snippets. Now, Dave mentioned writing a list, and I used the AI tool, and you can do this yourself. If you don't want to write it down, just type in, I'm traveling to Dublin for a marathon, staying overnight, do me a packing list, and your AI assistant, whoever that might be, will help you. And this is what they said for me: clothing, running gear, marathon running shoes, socks, sports bra, running shorts, sports bra if applicable, running shorts, pants, base layer, top. Warm layers, you'd need a light jacket or windbreaker, warm hat and gloves depending on the weather. Comfortable clothes for the rest of the trip: t-shirts, tops, trousers, jeans, underwear, warm sweater or fleece, and then, as we said earlier, an old top for the morning of the race that you might want to discard. Toiletries, you'll need your toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, soap, razor and shaving cream if applicable, makeup and makeup remover if applicable, hairbrush or comb, contact lens and solution, prescription medication if you need any. You need your phone, your chargers, your headphones, portable charger, camera, your marathon essentials, your marathon bib, your safety pins or your magnets, Vaseline or anti-chafing cream, your energy gels and snacks, water bottle, hydration pack, sunglasses if it's going to be sunny, but I'm not sure it will be for Dublin. If you're traveling from overseas, and I do know we have some overseas listeners, you need passport, travel itinerary, travel insurance documents, hotel reservation, accommodation details, and then miscellaneous items like snacks, energy bars, water bottles, spare water, reading material for entertainment or for downtime if you're kind of doing nothing the night before, cash, credit cards, travel adapter if you're traveling into Ireland, and some additional tips for us all. Check the weather forecasts, and I'm sure you have on numerous occasions already, because I'm checking it every day to see if the rain is coming or if the rain is past or if it's going to be there on Sunday. And just pack according to what the weather forecast could be. Wear comfortable shoes for travelling and exploring Dublin. We do have to get to that expo. Consider packing a small backpack or bag for carrying essentials during the marathon if you need to do that. But like we said earlier, it's often good to have a person or someone that you could arrange to meet at a certain point that might give you some things that you might have had to carry. And always question yourself, do I have to carry this? Do I have to bring this? Don't forget, as always, to stay hydrated and fueled and carb load on the build up to a marathon. All these things are super important. And take advantage of the public transport system, including buses and Lewis to get around the city. You'll need to think about taxis. Be aware of where your hotel is in relation to the start line. And if you've got time the day before, have a look at that too. So you're planning your route to wherever your wave is and ask questions. If you have questions and you're visiting the expo, ask them questions, because that's really important. You don't need to have mind monsters playing around your head, just worrying you unnecessarily about questions that an expert at the expo will be able to answer. If you're following a pacer, just try and find out who they are, trying to find out where they'll be. And if you're like me and you're stuck in a wave, I was hoping to do under 4 hours, but possibly following a 350 pacer, and I'm in wave 3 and there isn't a 350 pacer. So I'm going to try and get to the front of that wave just to avoid having to zigzag through people at the start. And if you're nervous about following a pacer and you're nervous about a time, just hang back behind the pacer. You'll be able to see the balloons and just stick with them as long as you can. Remember, the pacers will always keep a steady pace. But let's remember that we're here to enjoy it. And I have certainly enjoyed the build-up to it. I have to put my hand up and say, maybe I just forget Cork Marathon, but I am finding this particular taper week more nerve-wracking than I did for Cork. Maybe it's just I'm out of my home county, out of the home city. I had run a lot of the Cork Marathon in my training, so this is just new pastures for me, unsure about the hotel. But I know there's a lot of people from Eagle AC going up. That's my club, that we'll be able to meet up possibly before, but definitely after. And all these things, maybe they just do get in your head prior to the big day. But I do know crossing that finish line in Cork for me was a wonderful experience. And I know not everybody will complete the marathon, and if you don't, there will be plenty of others. But if you get to the start line and you get to the finish line, that's a wonderful achievement. And remember, it's about the finish line, not the finish time. And I know we sometimes obsess about, I want to break 3, or I want to break 4, or I want to break 5, or I want to break 6. But just remember, if you get to the finish line of a marathon, that is a major achievement. And you have to enjoy that. You have to really celebrate the fact that you've done the training block. And there's a lot of cliches, and we've heard them all, even this week, that we've done the training. My favorite one is the hay is in the barn. So thank you, Angeline, for that. And, we're here every week. We're going to continue this story. We'll be talking about the build-up to other marathons. And just remember that too. There will be plenty more races. There will be plenty more times. And if you do complete, and I hope all of us that have appeared this morning will get what we wish for time-wise and finish the marathon. And when we do that, we'll celebrate it. And we'll certainly then start planning for the next one. And I think that's another piece of advice that someone gave to me as well. When you finish the marathon, there can also be a slump. You can also have the, what am I going to do now? So start thinking about what you want to do next, whether it's just improving your 5K time or book yourself into a race. But the week after the marathon, maybe for almost 2 weeks after the marathon, take your rest. You certainly deserve it. Your body will need it. Enjoy the downtime. If you do like a tipple, have a few beers. You've trained really hard. You've really put the work in. And if you're not doing a marathon and you have been listening to this show, I do hope that you've enjoyed some of the stories on the build up to this marathon that might encourage you to do a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, or a full marathon in the weeks to come. We have some fabulous guests coming up over the next few weeks after Dublin. Next week, I hopefully will have a few snippets, a few sound bites from the day itself. But I do hope you've enjoyed listening to this week's show. So you can follow us and like and subscribe on all the social media platforms, middle of the pack. Obviously, like and subscribe to this podcast. Follow us or whatever your podcast platform requires. But yeah, drop us a like, drop us a follow, drop us a favorite. And I do hope you have enjoyed this week's show. So for this week, thanks for listening, and good luck to everybody running the Dublin City Marathon.